Bernanke won the Nobel Prize in economics essentially for three reasons. The first one is his study of the Great Depression and the mistakes of monetary policy during the Great Depression. He always maintained that if you want to understand how monetary policy works, the best natural experiment is the Great Depression. The second reason for his Nobel Prize is the so-called financial accelerator effect. That is why seemingly small shocks to the economy, in particular monetary policy shocks, have large effects in the end to the economy. His explanation, together with his co-authors, was that these shocks affect the ability of households and in particular firms to borrow because they affect the amount of collateral that they can post in order to borrow. And that has large effects eventually on investment and on the economy. The third reason for his Nobel Prize is advances in the econometrics of monetary policy. That is, how to identify the shocks to monetary policy and how to identify the effects of these shocks is not a trivial reason from a statistical econometric point of view, and he made important early contributions to this literature, which is fundamental if you want to understand the effects of monetary policy. I should also say that, of course, he's the best example of an academic who made a big, huge contribution to policy as the chairman of the Fed during the worst times in the recent decades, the financial crisis. And he steered the Fed in an exceptional way. He literally had to come up with new facilities at the Fed in the space of a weekend sometimes. Without him, I'm not sure that the world would have gone through the financial crisis the way it went through it. The financial crisis would have been much worse, probably. On a personal note, I should say I was his teaching assistant when I was a graduate student at MIT. We taught a course in monetary policy and monetary economics. I was his teaching assistant. I always admired the fact that he was, exceptionally bright, of course, but always down to earth. He combined theory and empirics already at the time. He was well aware of the practical effects of monetary policy. As a person, he was always very witty, and but always humble and down to earth and kind, very kind. Later on, I had an opportunity to interact with him when he was chairman of the Fed. And again, he had not changed. He was still witty and he was still very kind. He was still very humble.